So I was too late. When I looked in my rear mirror, I saw this guy coming. He saw me last moment. We both. So I was actually traveling around the GCC for work, and when I moved to Saudi, I moved from Saudi to UAE, and I got my charger. So I've seen on Insta all of these guys have these car groups and stuff. So one of my friends also got a charger, and he has an SRT. Okay, he gets something much higher than me, but then I actually introduced him to the charger thing because he actually drove my charger. He was like, wow, I'm gonna get something. So me and him, we actually both love chargers, and he actually got me introduced to Rashid from American 500. So he sent me Rashid's number, and then I sent out a ping. I was in Kuwait around that time. And I was like, hey Rashid, I want to join the car club. He said, oh, what do you like about cars and so on. And just had a small chat. And then he added me up. And then I was like, okay, the group got really loud, and I sent a couple of my pictures of my charger parked in Dubai when I'm in Kuwait, and then all these events happening. And it was like cool. I started getting into the car club culture. That's how I actually first got my entry into American 500 has been since then, and now also in between I got into Dodge Club, and then I got out of Dodge Club. So that's another story on this. It's fine. We had good runs in Dodge Club. So my first event was a Dodge Club. I actually went out to they had an anniversary event, and we went to the Dodge Club. We went to I think one of the hotels, and we saw, man, that day was crazy. I saw all these cars out there and all these chargers revving, like wow. And that's when I actually said, oh man, this is a completely different scene. Saudi was, this is it. I was like, wow. Then I went to more events with Dodge Club, and that's when we actually went to a proper event. I think it was a golf car festival, or I think it was it was a golf car. That's when I saw, man, this is massive. The scene is not only Dodge Club as well as the other clubs, and then American 500. I'm like, awesome. This is something which I want to do. But my car, I've always kept it very subtle. I don't want to be a show car kind of a thing. It's more of keep it low. It's my style. I want to keep it as it is. I never took my car as a show car, so I keep modifying it more bit by bit. Making like I feel that my identity is into the car. Well, if you look at it, I remember the first day after I got my driving license, I was shit scared to drive the Camry. I've had some really crazy incidents in Saudi with the Camry as well. I've been through a couple of accidents. I've had encounters with crazy Saudis. Okay, Saudis are crazy in their driving. Kuwaitis are even more worse, if you ask me. But then all in good spirits. If you look at it, ever since I started driving on a manual, obviously. Now I'm a bit more comfortable with everything because I have a 8-speed automatic transmission. But then the thing is that you actually evolve as a driver. You become more responsible. Then driving at 180, yeah, khalli walli, man, get out of the way. That kind of driving, and especially in Saudi, rules. Rules are not as stringent over here, but eventually you evolve. With great power comes great responsibility, and that's something which I tell my son also. Even he tells me sometimes, even in this little English which he started talking, tells me speed up, speed up, speed up. I'm like, no, cops are around, no speeding up. This place you can only go on 80. So I actually do that. So I actually tell that to other people. So you want to do shit stunts and all, don't do it. It's not worth it. You never know. It just takes one split second for you to, hang between life and death. Even when I've actually hit around 210. It's locked at 210. But I always thought, whenever I hit 210 and when you're at that peak, you always think it just takes one small wrong move over there, and the car can be ruled and your life will be done. But then you need to know when to use that and when not to. People over here don't know that. People sometimes, they go out of control. Even when Jumeirah Road, you start pushing it, there are people around you, man. You might not care for your life, but there are people around you who care for their lives. You can put their lives in danger. So I was getting out of office, and there's an illegal U-turn. Pretty much everyone in the office has to take that illegal U-turn because that's the only way you can take the closest exit. Otherwise, you'll have to go like 2-3 kilometers ahead on that road, then take the safe U-turn and come back, which is, everyone looks for the shortcut. So our company did not ban that as such. The safety was there. We haven't had many incidences, but after mine, I guess they start taking it into a bit. So I'm at the U-turn. It's actually a Kacha U-turn. There's a proper road next. It's a highway. 120 speed, cars go by. Okay, and I'm actually at that U-turn. I'm waiting for a safe zone. So there's a car coming in. It goes okay. Next car is coming in. I see a trailer over there. It's in the middle lane. It's coming at around, let's say, I don't know, 100 or 80, whatever is permissible. And I'm seeing that after the trailer, there is a gap. So my intention is to take, after the trailer goes, safe zone comes, I'll take it. What happened is, during that gap when I was waiting for the safe zone, there was a Chevrolet, you know, the old Chevrolet, the Caprice Classic. Those things, one of them was coming at 120. And he was actually in the, you can say, blind spot. So I was too late. When I looked in my rear mirror, I saw this guy coming. He saw me last moment. We both collided, and it was exactly on that. Thankfully, it was on the other side, and he hit both my doors. He hit my car. He went and fell into the ditch. He went and hit one of those signboards, government signboards also, and fell into the ditch. My car, luckily, since it was a Japan make, it was proper Japan, not the, what do you call it, China make, the doors got really effed up, and thankfully, I'm still alive. I parked the car to the side. I was completely shaken. It was right outside my office. So I called my Saudi friends. Those guys came in. They spoke to that guy who was a Saudi, and he's also fine. His car is absolutely fine. I mean, the car is like, the bumper is a little bit dented, a little bit. But my car is like, the whole two doors are dented and gone inside. I was like, shit, I'm screwed. So I call my dad up, and he comes up with his driver. And then the cops come in. And then they look at the whole assessment. They look at pretty much, they said you have to come to the police station. So the reason why they took me to the police station, they wanted my sponsor also to come in. So my friend who was in the government relations department, who was Saudi, he was like buddies with me. So he came immediately. He said, if you need anything, let me know. I'll help you out. He also came in, spoke to the cops. The reason why I went to the cops at that time was because the other guy went and hit one of those signboards, which is basically government property. And they wanted to make sure that my insurance covers for that also. So luckily, that was illegal. It was an illegal board. It was not kept by the government. So I was like, thank God, man. But the car was pretty much in very bad shape. So I had to drive it. It was drivable. So I drove it back to the garage with my dad. And around 5K, 5.5K. Luckily, there's actually the center arm. It was not bent. So only the doors were to be replaced. So they got it all fixed up. It was like one heck of an accident. And I'm thankful that I'm still alive, thank God. My dad is also like, don't worry, it's fine. As long as you're safe, I'm fine. The car and all, it's fine, it's okay. It was crazy. So that was one of the encounters which I had. But in Dubai, I haven't had any major incidences. One which I can say is in terms of my fines, 2018, I had 19 black points. And I had around 6,000 or 5,000 in my fines list. And the reason why is because, don't think that I'm a crazy driver. I'm a pretty safe driver. And having 19 black points was like crazy. So I actually complimented myself thinking that I'm on the black list. You know, when the most wanted, you have the most wanted list. I'm like almost reached to number 5. Yeah. I was so close to getting to 23, but I actually cut a red signal. And that's what happened. So I had to pay 4,000 to get my car out of impound, plus I had 12 black points, which was a crazy deal. So I went to the cops, and it was actually in Kisses. So I went to the cops in Kisses and actually tried explaining to them. So I told them that the signal, which actually turned green, right after it turned green, the second it started blinking. By the time the 2 cars went by, and when it became orange, I did not see it. I went by, and it became red. So I just crossed the line when it became red, and then I got clicked. And I went and tried to explain to the cops. The cops said, I'm sorry, we cannot do anything, you have to do this. And then he said, you have to put your car in impound. I was like, put it in impound? I don't, where do you go put it in the graveyard, you know? And I was like, okay, fine, I don't want to do this. Can I pay? And he said, yeah, you just have to pay 3,000 dirhams. So I said, okay, fine, I'll pay. It was crazy, man. It hit me in my pocket, and I was like, since then, and those black points, that actually kept me driving very safe. Right after that, a couple of other, I had another 2 more black points come in after that. So that's how we got to 19. I was like, man, black points are just, once you get one black point, it just attracts all the other black points. So I was like, fine. Then I got cleared and I was like, I'm a free man now. This is coming out of parole or something, It was fun. Then the last incident which I had was with Sharjah cops. So after living in Sharjah for almost 3.5 years, first time. So I picked up my son from my sister's place. It was just around the block. And I didn't even rev. I'm just going back home after work. So my car is on idle. And I slowly, I see the cop over there. He's issuing a ticket to somebody else for illegal parking or whatever. I go past him. And right about to get to my building parking, he comes from behind and he stops me. And he says, let me see your ID and license and everything. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm screwed. Then he says, he goes around the car. And I should have switched off the engine because he starts saying, oh, you have modified. I said, no. I don't know what to say. Like, no. He's like, no, you have modified. And then he starts giving me fine. I said, everything, pretty much the vehicles on my car are legal because I already got the CID approval for that, but that's in Dubai. And then he actually he couldn't find that but then I had ghost charges written on my car, so he picks on that also. So he gives me a couple of fines. Luckily, thank God, he was in a good mood. He just let me off with a 1,000 dirham fine. That's it. I was like, that was so crazy. That day was the worst day of my life because I had a bad day at work and then came back and had this also. So